Welcome to Taco Movie Talks. We are back. This is week 19, and we are. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wow. We got some Inception going on here. We're actually.
And welcome everybody.
Okay. I messed that up, but we're going to jump right into it because what better way to do it than to jump right into it? I'm brought to you here with Big Chungus, and we have some exciting stuff going on this week. We just got moved back in, but we also had the privilege of watching some NFL football, which we are both fans of. And next week, we got fantasy football draft.
So excited.
Going down. I already have all my players earmarked, and if Big Chung takes any of them, I'm gonna have to assume that you went through my notes.
You caught me.
And cheated.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the only thing that makes any logical sense.
Well, money's on the line, so I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah. And if any of you play fantasy football or any fantasy, I think you could all agree one of the most fun parts is naming your team. Because it, at least for me, is like you get the creative element that I have been searching for in my life forever.
See, I lack creativity, so I just use your dad's name.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Which is, in its own way, very creative. Especially when you are granted an opportunity to name something. So we have friends who use electronic cigarettes, and I do not by any means condone the use of electronic cigarettes, but I've always found the juices that they use to be such weird and wacky names that I have been sending not petitions. I just post my resume, rather, on Google to no site in particular, hoping it gets found, and that I can now be the new person to just name juices for electronic cigarettes, because I feel like that would be a good use of skills.
Well, if you want to name something, we could always play Jackbox, and you could just, put your name in there.
Yeah.
Some creativity there.
Explain Jackbox to the people watching.
Well, we have it on PlayStation, and I think there's 8 different sets.
Yeah.
But they have multiple games that you can play on your phone.
Party games.
Party games with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
And it you guess espionage, where you guess the numbers if it's high or lower. Or we play what's it called?
Quiplash.
Quiplash. But it's so much fun picking your name. I always love that part.
Yeah, I try to go through the historical names of people in my lineage, and all of our friends, they make fun of me for it. They're like, that's such a lame name. And I was like, that's my great-great-grandpa. And they're like, is he dead? And I say, yes, he did. He passed away many, many moons ago. Well, because he was born in 1813, and if he was still alive, that would be something.
Yeah. Give him to the scientists.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad to know where your mind's at. So if I ever live to be 210, I will know to keep it secret. Anywho, what would be even more horrifying than being worked on by scientists? And I think it would be Ethan Hawke wearing creepy masks and aliens. And this is horror in 2022, ladies and gentlemen. And we saw one of these films actually in theaters, in the comfy recliner chairs. We splurged. We had a big Chungus taco date night, and it was quite fun, I have to say, seeing Nope in the theaters. And then Black Phone we actually saw today, as it premiered on Peacock just a day or two ago. And while I might prefer one over the other, they are both solid entries into the horror genre. And I think we should just get right into it with Nope, which, your experience coming in, how much did you know about it, and did you like it coming out of it?
Well, okay, so I remember you're like, we should see Nope. I was like, I knew nothing about it.
Mhm.
Didn't watch the trailer, like, knew zero about it. So I went, I was like, what's happening? I had no spoilers,
Mm-hmm.
no idea what it was about, and it just, like, I thought it was really good. I knew it was going to be good because Jordan Peele was a director.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I loved Get Out,
Yes.
Us.
You liked Us even more than Get Out. Am I right on that?
Yes. It's just, like, he's so creative.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's different than, like, normal movies you watch.
Yeah.
It's just, like, he steps out, like, he's definitely, like, I'm excited to see what his next project's gonna be. Just because those three, like, blew my expectations out of the water.
Yeah, I don't think he's disappointed yet. And this one is one of his stronger films. I think in time, maybe after a rewatch, I could say, I think this might be his best.
Yeah.
And he kind of, it's not an M. Night Shyamalan-esque twist, but he always has something that kind of elevates the film once it's revealed. And that is done in this. And we're getting into spoiler territory. It's been about a month, and just so we can kind of cover some new ground on this one. But even from some of the trailers, you're led to believe aliens are at the forefront of the movie. And you think it's an unidentified flying object or unidentified aerial phenomena. But you think it's a spaceship, when in reality, it's the alien is what the spacecraft is, an alien. And the way they kind of unveil that is, like, even as they're telling you that, I'm like, what the hell is going on? They, like, the gentleman on the far right, who also has ties to Gordy the chimp,
Yes.
is kind of trying to use the alien as a part of his, like, live show, this live performance, and it ends up going terribly awry, where the alien basically sucks up all these people, eats them, later spits them all out all over the house of our lead characters, which are the center and the far left woman. That scene in and of itself was amazing.
It really was. But I wanted to hear your take. Gordy, to me, was, like, I didn't understand, like, how he fit into the film, but I remember you saying, like, you had, like, an idea of, like, how, like, why they brought Gordy up. Because, like, I still don't know, like, maybe I have to rewatch it, but I don't know, like, how that tied in to the film.
So, and Ethan and I actually talked about this, and I think he brought up a good point that actually put some of my thoughts into words even better than I could. But we have the family, the Harris family, I believe, and they had lineage dating back to, like, capturing a horse on film. Then we kind of see, like, the middle ground, where they're trying to capture a chimp as a frequent character on a TV show. So we took something that's pedestrian looking back, but, like, at the time was completely groundbreaking to have film at all, let alone, motion on film, and a wild animal on film. Then we're trying to do the impossible again, and that's like show a chimp as a character and let's get it to act how we want it to. And then it goes to the absolute, like, today, what would be that version? And that's like, let's actually capture, like, full, unadulterated, like, true vision of an alien and catch it on film.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I do like that take.
Yeah, and, like, that whole narrative I thought was really cool, and I think I know that race is a huge thing in Jordan Peele's films, and I think how that background and how the family has kind of seen their opportunities and the space that they kind of carved out get saturated, and now having the opportunity to kind of take back the forefront of doing that is pretty cool, because it makes a huge point that I think is never really addressed, and that is that, you know, black people in America do have really strong roots to the beginning of film and cinema as a whole, because the first action star, or the first person captured on film, was a black man. So I think it's just, I guess, not so much saying how the treatment of African Americans or just black people in general has deteriorated, more so just making note like, hey, black people have significance in film, which is something that I think is worth saying, because I don't think a lot of, for me, I think I did know that the earliest film was that, and only from Letterboxd, just like trying to look at what some early films people watched were. Don't ask me why I do these things on Letterboxd, but I did not know that the main person being filmed was a black person, because I think I assumed that time period would be really contentious with race relations, because I think it was either late 1800s or early 1900s. So to think that, I was like, I couldn't imagine it, but to know that now, it was surprising. But this was a super great film. I thought the whole Gordy aspect, like, that is terrifying. Anyone who's heard stories about, like, chimps just going bananas, for lack of a better term.
Was it that the lady that owned the chimp, or was it a different animal that her friend came over and she like ripped like her face off and like her
and her hands and I think her feet too.
Yeah, so
yeah, and it's a similar situation too, where they almost allude to it in a way where, so the sitcom that Gordy was on, the character who is on the right of your screen, if you're viewing this, he was the child. The sister actor, the woman who played his sister, she was at the live show that ended up getting sucked up by the alien, and they showed her face was just like torn apart by it in the movie. But I think that's really strongly based off of that real life case that you're talking about, because that woman's face was completely torn off, and she looks like her face was torn off. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a really great film. I think it could potentially be argued as Jordan Peele's best so far, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. What about you, Megs?
4.5 out of 5.
Okay. You gave it 4.5
out of 5.
Okay. Yes.
So like
yes.
a 9 out of 10.
Yes. Sorry.
Did you think I meant 4.5 out of 10?
No. Moving on to the one that we just watched today, The Black Phone by Scott Derrickson, 2022. This one we saw on Peacock, which premiered just a short couple days ago. What did you think about this one?
I thought it was a really good idea, and like he executed it very well.
Yes.
Like who was Hill?
Joe Hill, yeah.
Joe Hill.
Stephen King's son.
Yes, that's very interesting. What is that? His book, or
Yep.
is it like off of his book?
The Black Phone was, yeah, I think a book that he wrote. I didn't read it. I read Nosferatu by him that I thought was really good, but yeah, apparently this movie was based off of his book, The Black Phone.
Yeah, just watching this, it makes me want to read that book, which I think I might download it tonight just to
give it a read.
It was very good.
Yeah, and having read Nosferatu, I can definitely tell Joe Hill's inspiration on it, and that like his source material had to do with him, because there's a lot of similar elements. I mean, child abduction is really big in both. There's supernatural elements where by kind of lost children are in this kind of magical realm to where they exist but don't exist. He's a really good author, and I thought this was really well directed. And the masks that are on the screen right now, if you are watching, it was a really nice touch for a villain to where you might see that guy as a character in the future, quite frankly, because I think just the way it looks is so striking visually, and that is ultimately, I think, what we're really attracted to with these slasher films is like you see the hockey mask, you see the Michael Myers mask. It leads to kind of this thing taking on a life of its own. So just based on that and not even taking the story into consideration, I could possibly see them trying to do a prequel to this, if I were to guess.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to if that would.
Yeah.
If you would create one.
And Ethan Hawke plays the villain in this one, and I think he really did a great job as the bad guy, because he's like creepy and really has a presence that is intimidating. Like when he's like just kind of sitting watching the stairs, like he looks really, really intimidating for sure.
As soon as you said creepy, that was my mind first went to him, the mask, shirtless, sitting with the belt on the watching the stairs. That was where my mind first went to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I loved kind of how the time is played with, how the supernatural elements are played with, where they talk in a way that is both supposed to be communicating with the past, the present, and the future, which is like really neat, because they're talking to 3 different people too at the same time. Like anytime they communicate with the phone, they're talking to our main character, his sister, and then also Ethan Hawke, the bad guy, which is really cool because that gets unveiled at the end, like how the message seems jumble when you hear it the first time, and then it starts to make sense, and then it packs a really nice punch.
Like clicks.
Exactly. So for that on its own, like that was a really neat little wrinkle to add to the story, which is another thing that Hill likes to do. But what did you rate this one, and what was your enjoyment factor?
I gave it a 9 out of 10, and I really enjoyed both the movies because, as you know, I like making predictions.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one I could predict. Like, it was just it'd be like, oh, this is gonna happen, and it didn't happen, and like I truly love that in a movie. It's like you can't predict anything.
Kept you on your tippy toes.
And like it all comes together, and you're like, this is perfect. So I definitely give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely kept you on your tippy toes, and was a film that really well written and well executed. So I hope that they do something with this moving forward. People seem to really like it on Letterboxd, and I hope you liked our review. I gave this one a 7 out of 10. Very solid, very solid. And I would recommend both horror movies, especially if you're a horror fan. But I think a lot of people liked Black Phone more than Nope. So it just kind of, it depends on your tastes. But we both agree that we like Nope slightly more?
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So that's our take, and we're sticking to it. But if you're watching this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Big shout out to Big Chungus for co-hosting this episode. And we appreciate y'all, and we will catch you.
On the flippity flip.
Bye, y'all.